Cool Figure TV. Revolutionary salute. Revolutionary salute. Like, share, subscribe. Welcome to the House of Revolution. You know I'm your humble host, the y'all mean of Revolution. We got FOFA, FBA news you can use. But before we get into that, y'all be sure to wipe y'all feet. That means hit the like button. You in the House of Revolution. Like, share, subscribe, support the platform, y'all. Let's get right into the content. Salute. Oh, yeah.
Man, look at the way the guy walks up on her. Man, look at the way he walked up to her, man. This right off the break. I can stop the video right there. Because when you walk up on somebody like that, does that look like you coming here to discuss the weather? Maybe you came up to give him a kiss. Nah, he walked up on her aggressive, like he wanted some action.
Wanted fantasy.
But he gets surprised because she has protection with her. All right. So just peep out the stride and the aggressive nature that he's approaching this woman. Now, you tell me, if that would have been a grown-ass man, about 6 feet tall, with a little build on him, standing over there, you think he'd have walked up that quick? Like he gonna do something? Check it out. Check this out. She got a gun in her hand, and she steps back. He sees the gun, and he stops. Then he approaches anyway, because he senses she's not going to do anything to him. I mean, it's so clear, Faye. The media wants you to feel bad for a man who walked up on an armed woman who was obviously, plainly holding a gun. He's aggressive towards her. They want you to feel bad for him. They want you to feel bad for him getting what he came for. Obviously, the man is either off his medication, high, drunk, or he wants to leave this earthly realm and go to the next phase. Now, I don't know what they're discussing, but I don't think she's saying to him, would you like to come over for tea, mate? I don't think that's what's going on. And I don't think he's saying to her, oh, what lovely eyes you have, right? But I do think she's saying you need to keep your distance because remember, her car is parked next to where he is standing. She removed herself around that other vehicle. That's a sedan. She walks around that sedan to avoid having to shoot this man. But he wants to be shot. He's begging to be shot right now. This is a man begging to be shot. She's still walking away from him. He is away from his own vehicle, next to her vehicle. He walked over there on his own volition for a reason. You in Florida, in a state where people can have guns, it's a stand your ground state. What's she supposed to think is going to happen? And instead of messing around and FAFOing for herself, she says he going to be the one to FAFO. That's all this is this woman is deciding that she's not going to be a victim. That's all that happened here. And you know what? Every person on this God's green earth gets to make a decision. If they're fortunate enough, sometimes we don't get to make a decision. This woman had an opportunity. She had time to make a decision that if it's going to be me or him, it's going to be him. And can't nobody take that away from you. He's running his mouth near her vehicle and still harassing her. Look, he then backed her up again, all the way back to where? Back to her car. She's standing next to her car. Here he comes again. Here he comes again. Now he's walking off. She's by her vehicle. That's her vehicle. And here he comes again. And she is... It is. It is. Now, we done blurred it out because we don't want to be too graphic on the show. But obviously, he got what he came for. Now, before I show you what report went out on the airwaves on ABC, let me just break a couple things down to you, right? I do not care what the media is telling you about this story. This is not about a fight over a parking space. This is a fight over sanity. This is a disagreement about who wants to be on Earth and who doesn't want to be on Earth. It's the story of a man who looked at a person with a loaded gun and said, what the hell, let me give it a shot. That's what this was. A man so arrogant that he can have a gun fixed on him. And he'd be like, well, I guess bullets can bounce off me today. That's what this is. Because any person that's not full-blown arrogant or crazy sees a person pointing a gun at him has to consider maybe she'll use it. Maybe it's not a decoration. It's not an appendage. It's a weapon. And it's pointed at you. And the person's saying, stay your ass over there. And instead of listening to that, you approach them. That's what this story is really about. So anything else you heard is nonsense. I mean, at the end of the day, who tracks an armed person around the vehicle? Cops don't do that. No one does that. No one follows armed people around. Maybe the Terminator. You know what I'm saying? Maybe Wolverine, walks someone around, an armed person around a vehicle, but they have, like Wolverine had healing capability. Mr. De Guglielmo does not have healing capability. But De Guglielmo is a human being, and he is deceased.
This morning, the ongoing investigation into a deadly confrontation in Florida, a parking space dispute turning deadly outside a Walmart. 62-year-old Bart DeGuglielmo shot and killed.
Female shot someone outside in the parking lot. Both out there were fighting over a parking spot.
Authorities say the altercation started about 5 minutes earlier, with the two drivers fighting over a parking spot. DeGuglielmo then parked his car, partially blocking the spot, and walked into the store. Witnesses say the woman then managed to slip into the spot anyway. The woman is then seen getting out of her car, phone in one hand, gun in the other, yelling at DeGuglielmo, who appears to be yelling back. He's then seen walking toward her as she points the gun at him. She backs up several times, gun leveled. She retreats around the car. He follows. An eyewitness says the woman repeatedly warned him she'll shoot if he keeps coming at her. He appears to leave, but then quickly returns. And then she opens fire, shooting DeGuglielmo. Police then take the woman into custody. Officials say she claims she was acting in self-defense.
Now that woman is no longer in custody and the shooting is under current investigation. Prosecutors will have to decide what charges, if any at all, are warranted. Really, guys, it's just a question of, is this self-defense or not?
Oh, I feel good about this one. What I mean by that is, finally, people with sane minds, reasonable people can agree on something. Yeah, we might not agree on much, but we can agree on this. We can agree that if someone has a gun in their hand and they're telling you to back off, that it's probably a good idea for you to back off. And that if you want to pose a threat to someone, that maybe that will be met with force that you're not ready for. Okay, so I like this story. In fact, I'm seeing some people that I would normally disagree with be on the same page as I when it comes to this. And that's a good thing to see. Look, I got no problems with that. My thing is this, though. There are a few people, man, that got a hangover from the Austin Metcalf story. And they just kind of like, they gotta deny self-defense, but they just cannot let themselves be brought to accepting that this sister did the right thing. Or what she did, not the right thing. It's not about right or wrong. That what she did was not illegal. That it was not against the law. They're not going to charge her with anything. At least they haven't charged her with anything up to this point. So that sounds like the gun was legal. It looks like self-defense so far. And they haven't found any reason to not make it be self-defense. That's what that looks like to me. The smartphone footage doesn't lie, right? This woman is trapped in the parking lot with a man who has an attitude, a temper, and he is aggressive towards her, and he will not back off for whatever reason. Now, I don't know what's going on. Maybe he owes back child support. Maybe his taxes is taking a bite out of his ass. Maybe he got a diagnosis that has him in a mental state. All these things could be happening, but that's not her fault. nor should she have to try to medicate him or provide him therapy. She under no obligation at all to try to figure out why this man is tripping. But she does have some medicine for him. And that medicine has several shots. She shot this man one time, and unfortunately, his invisible body armor did not work. Yeah, that button that he was, attached to his chin or in his cheek, when he tapped it, it did not make his invisible armor appear and deflect the bullets. Because that's the only thing I could come up with. Because if someone's pointing a gun at me, not only am I not going to approach them, I'm going to go the other way. Because I would like to see my grandbabies. I just see my grandbabies' babies, if that's possible. And I don't know if it is, but I ain't trying to FAFO in a Walmart parking lot over a damn parking space neither one of us own. And I'm sure Bart DiGuglielmo may have family that loves him who are distraught right now. And to them, I say, I'm sorry for your loss. And to them, I also say, Bart brought this on himself. And nobody chased him around the vehicles. He chased an armed person around vehicles in broad daylight in a Walmart parking lot over a parking space. You can't tell me Bart hasn't displayed poor judgment in the past. This guy's a ticking dumb time bomb. But I do got to say this to the few people that disagree with the actions of his sister whose name hasn't been released. In this country, we tell women to carry, to protect themselves, to defend themselves. And then when one does that, you still got to complain? You got something to say? You can't let your eyes tell you what happened? You have to find a way to disagree? Now, in this case, it's pretty obvious who the aggressor was, who the defender was. The reality is this. If a man backs you up in a parking garage and he won't stop when you heed him, when you give him a warning and you show him you got a gun and he won't stop pursuing you, and this has gone on for 5 minutes, you're under no obligation at all to find out if he means business or if he means harm to you. You can go ahead and make an assumption, yeah, he does. This, my friends, is a prime, clear definition of play stupid games, win stupid prizes. That's what this is. This textbook. In fact, if you looked up the definition of play stupid games, win stupid prizes, you should see a picture of Bart DiGuglielmo. Right there. Now, I'm not here applauding the loss of human life. No, not at all, man. I'm not here to make light of that. But I got to say, this woman did not take this man's life. This man's ego took his life. His pride took his life. The gun was just a delivery system for that event. That bullet was just a messenger. His pride was the true killer. She did not ambush him. She did not chase him. She drew a line in the sand and he crossed it. Case closed, face closed. Why can't they all be this easy to figure out? And to those people out there that's giving her the side eye, that are in comment sections right now complaining, hey, if you walk up on somebody with a gun and you keep walking up on them and you know they got a gun, when you get what you came there for, you have no room to complain. My name is Tim Black. Thank you for watching this video.
A new video raising new questions about a deadly shooting outside of a Walmart.
A father of three losing his life over a parking spot. And tonight, the woman accused of shooting him claims that she fired in self-defense. Local 10's Rosh Lowe spoke exclusively to the victim's daughter. He's live now in North Lauderdale with what the video shows. Rush.
So you just mentioned this, and this is important. This woman is claiming self-defense. She'll have to argue that she had a fear, an imminent fear for her life. Well, tonight, we have the video, and you'll see it for yourself. And what we also have tonight are the words of the victim's daughter. And you'll see how heartbroken she is. The backstory on this case, she was estranged from her dad for many years. Recently, they were trying to rebuild their lives when he lost his life. We're going to start this with the video. The victim with the gray shirt.
Oh, shit.
The woman with a gun. There is a standoff, and then the shooting. You can hear it.
He was a good man.
A daughter in tears. Amanda lost her 62-year-old father, Bart, shot in the stomach in a Walmart parking lot, North Lauderdale.
I just don't think anybody deserves to lose their life over a parking spot.
Cops say an adult female and the victim were involved in a verbal altercation over a parking space in the Walmart parking lot prior to the shooting.
I don't like to deal with death and like to talk about it at all. That's why I was very hesitant to do this interview.
But you are doing it. Why do you want to speak about your dad?
Because I want my dad to be remembered for who he was and not who the media is portraying him to be.
According to investigators, the shooter, the adult female, remained on scene, cooperated with detectives, and she told them the shooting was in self-defense.
He loved his country. He loved his country.
Bart served in the military. There are no charges in this case at this point. Amanda says she was estranged from her dad for many years, but recently they were working on repairing their relationship. And just like that, a life lost. And throughout the interview, you can see the pain on her face.
He moved down here 3 years ago with the intentions on rebuilding the relationship.
And during the time we spoke with Amanda, the daughter, she kept repeating to me, over a parking spot, nobody deserves to lose their life over a parking spot. I want to mention this again, no charges at this point. The investigation is ongoing. We're live in North Lauderdale. I'm Rosh Lowe, Local 10 News.
Okay, Rosh, thank you.
22 and 36 says, let him, or in this case, she, who has no sword, sell their coat and buy one. Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings, all praises to the Most High. These are definitely some violent and fearful times are for some. This case just happened a couple of days ago in Florida, where the guy you're talking about or that they were talking about was obviously, and they're trying to frame it as a argument over a parking spot. That's not what the argument was. The parking spot was just the premise. What I mean is, so they were both actually apparently trying to get to this particular parking space. Now, the man actually blocked the parking space, didn't even park in the parking space from what I'm hearing, and tried to prevent her from getting in. Then she somehow managed to squeeze in, and then the man, I guess, went back and either blocked her in again or he parked in another space and got out. So now they're in communication with each other. And you can see the woman is standing her ground, standing there and pointing, hey, back up. Witnesses said they heard her several times say, look, back up, back up, back up. Now, eventually she keeps retreating back. She walks around the car. She walks around the car again. And the news report even said that he left and then he came back. So at that point, what was she to do? Now, we all see stories and hear stories right here on this channel where police say someone charged at them. He advanced towards them. I'm actually dealing with a case right here where a mentally ill man armed with a kitchen knife, was shot because police said he advanced towards him. So if police, who are trained professionals, who are trained to deal with violence on a daily basis, can have that fear, then how cannot that same fear be applied to an everyday citizen? Now, fortunately, I guess, or unfortunately for some, she has not been arrested. She was taken into custody, but then released, apparently after seeing the video, because there's obvious proof on that video that this man was being aggressive towards her. Now, her being a female and a man being strong enough to normally overtake her, then her fear should be valid. But I don't like the way the news is trying to portray this particular situation, because I'm going to play you the entire video, or at least bits and clips of the video without sound. But they're trying to portray him, oh, he was a veteran. And, you know, this is his daughter who is so distraught, but she won't even talking to him. You know, they're trying to give some life to this man who was obviously, once again, in the wrong. He could have easily walked away. He could have easily not tried to block that parking space. And so I think they're trying to spin a sympathetic nature. Even the daughter mentioned, well, I don't, the way they're trying to portray him, he was a good man. You don't even know. You won't even talking to him. And so that's, I think, the focus that and the spin that they're trying to focus on, rather than the stand your ground law. You know, when white people shoot black people in these instances, there's all sorts of media pundits, legal analysts on the TV screen trying to justify, well, yeah, this is definitely stand your ground. He has a reasonable proof. Now nobody wants to admit that law exists. And so evidently the sister is okay. She is not being charged. And just look at this other clip of the video, which you can clearly see her retreating on several occasions. And I'm going to play it without the sound so we can concentrate on what's going on. So the man is walking up, and that's when you hear the shot, and he goes down. Here she is again. She's talking to him, gun lowered, like she's supposed to have it, and he runs up on her, and she backs up. See, she's backing up. She's backing up. He keeps advancing. Once she's backed into a corner, she's backed into a corner. She's walking around cars. He keeps coming. He's actually, you know, she's out of the picture. Look, she's backing up again, backing up, backing up, backing up, backing up, backing up. How far is she supposed to back up? She goes to the rear of this car. He's acting like he's leaving. And she keeps her gun ready because she don't know what's going on. Then he comes back, and then that's when the shot occurs. And they have him blurred out on the ground, just like the police do when they shoot somebody unarmed. They continue to hold the gun. Now, apparently, she's calling the police herself, a regular citizen who stood her ground. And of course, you know, she instantly gets taken in. But that is, once again, a different version of what they are trying to focus on. Once again, I've heard nobody say that she shouldn't have shot him, except what's his name, Jason Whitlock, talking about a black woman shoots an unarmed man over the parking lot. It wasn't about a parking space. It was about him coming up to her in a threatening manner after the parking lot, you know, after the parking space was already over with. Both of them had already got out of the car. Both of them have already parked their vehicles. So it wasn't over a parking spot. It was over this man advancing towards this black woman. So shout out to that black woman for standing her ground. We've all heard the stand your ground law with George Zimmerman and, you know, a few other cases in Florida, but it rarely works in our favor. So this time, apparently for now, it is, unless they tug on the emotional strings of him being a veteran, his daughter, and over a parking spot. Then hopefully we will not see any changes in the status. They haven't released the name of the woman. Once again, I commend her for standing her ground. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this video in the comments. Y'all see the number 919-587-7782. Thank y'all for liking, watching, sharing, and subscribing to the channel. And as always, I pray you have peace and blessings. And as the scripture says, all things that are hidden shall be revealed, and those things done in secret shall be exposed on the mountaintop. Let's go, Rich.
Family and fellow soldiers, I'm the professor, and this is the moment of truth.
I'm Ashley Etienne. I have been a political strategist for about 20 some odd years. I worked in leadership, a communications director, first person of color communications director for Speaker Pelosi, as well as Vice President Harris. And then I was a special assistant to Barack Obama and a deputy assistant to President Joe Biden.
Now here's someone we haven't seen in a while, and we really could have done without seeing her now. Ashley Etienne, the first Haitian to be a miscommunications director for the White House. So she's a certified tether, by the way. The only reason you even know who Ashley Etienne is because Barack Obama put her on, and that's because she's an immigrant. White supremacy and its tether henchmen have a job set-aside program for tethers, and she's one of them. And now here she is deliberately misrepresenting FBA voters in Texas, acting like she's going to talk for them, falsely claiming that the Democrats better watch out because Black voters feel betrayed by the Democrats. Black voters are indeed angry. Nobody can deny that. So instead, they bring out this tether to claim that, well, Black voters aren't mad because the Democrats haven't stepped up with tangibles or any policy specifically for them. Why? Black voters are mad that Kamala Harris didn't win. Yeah. They want more tethers in office, see? No, Black voters stayed home in 2024 because Kamala Harris didn't offer us anything. No tangibles, no vote, no kidding. But even then, this tether wasn't really talking about Black voters. She was more specific than that. Now, when you look at the headline on the false news website, it says Black voters. But when you look directly under that, you see it's the same old DNC shill talking points. She's saying that Black women are angry because they didn't get it.
Revolutionary salute to our brother Ricardo for the donation to the war chest. Revolution is a way of life. Absolutely appreciate the love, soldier salute.
Anything from the Democrats.
And the reason why you have Black electeds and people like Jasmine Crockett that are withholding that enthusiasm and even their endorsement is they've not gotten any indication from the campaign that he's seriously building that infrastructure within the campaign to figure out, okay, what's our immediate next step, because I'm not in the campaign. I don't know what they've done, but that is really the concern that I'm hearing is that, it's sort of more talk and not enough action to actually demonstrate a level of seriousness about engaging, mobilizing, and turning out Black voters.
But even then, when you look at what she actually says, she's not even talking about Black women. She's talking about Jasmine Crockett and Kamala Harris. Because they lost their elections, Black women are mad at the Democrats, or so she says. This tether claims Black women are upset with the Democrats because Ashley Etienne's fellow DNC butt kissers lost their elections. This is what she thinks is going to get Black voters, Black women to the polls. This is what she thinks that they care about the most, the political fortunes of a Jamaican tether and a buffoon city girl. Jasmine Crockett lost her primary because she and her fellow Democrats refused to actually fight for the Black voting rights that they claim to care so much about. When Shelby v. Holder came down in 2013, that was a 5-alarm fire for Democrats that the GOP was waging an all-out offensive to eliminate the Voting Rights Act. Every member of the CBC knows that the only reason any of them are in office, the only reason any of them have their cushy political careers is due solely to the Voting Rights Act. Now, if the CBC was actually serious about keeping their elected offices, then the Voting Rights Act would be to them what Israel is to the Jewish lobby, the single most important issue because everything else stems from that. But instead, for 13 years, what have Democrats done, including Jasmine Crockett? They went all out for illegal immigrants, for abortion. Jasmine Crockett wasted all of her time getting into stupid spitball fights with trash like Marjorie Taylor Greene. Well, Marjorie Greene had an exit strategy. Jasmine Crockett, on the other hand, just got put out on her ear. And yes, she lost her primary to this Tallarico guy because her asinine antics might have worked with low information voters in what was her district, but outside of that, it didn't work at all. Jasmine Crockett spent her brief time in Congress making it excruciatingly clear that she was a totally unserious candidate for office. All the sassy bullcrap and having pictures of herself on the walls behind her, she was a narcissist, not a national candidate. But Ashley Etienne is pushing this line that black women are angry at Democrats over Crockett losing, without pointing out that there's plenty of other black candidates who aren't buffoons, who the Democrats outright refuse to support at the local level. There are plenty of black candidates who could get into office if the Democrats decided to actually open up the wallet and support their campaigns, but the Democrats don't, because the party's open, unabashed message is that they want white people to be speaking for black people. And well, if they have to have a black person on the ballot, it needs to be a tether. This is the reason why Ashley Etienne isn't conning anyone. She's not fooling anyone when she tries to claim that, well, Democrats want black votes, but they don't want black leadership. No, she's thinking about herself. She's out here pushing that old black feminist crap, which is what she means by black women.
Black women aren't just another constituency. We're we undergird the black community. We have the ability to bring the entire community to, and we have proven that we do this every cycle after cycle, bring the entire community to the polls. So we are a force multiplier effect when it comes to black voters. So, if the mood of black women is low, then you lose an opportunity or weakens your ability to really reach and mobilize and engage and energize the rest of the black community. There's got to be some specific attention paid and intentionality to addressing the concerns of black women.
Notice she did just like Vivica Fox, by the way. She drew a clear distinction between black women and the black community. This is 2026, and she's still trying to resurrect that old gender warring garbage. In her twisted mind, black women are not part of the black community. That's because a tether like herself is not part of the FBA community. And just like Vivica Fox, when she says black community, that's a euphemism for black men. That's the unspoken part of what she's saying. As if black women apparently have issues other than the tangibles that they're supposed to be getting up. What's these other issues she's talking about? There are no other issues. Nothing she's talking about is relevant. The soap that she's trying to sell is that black feminists, meaning herself, are somehow leading black men around by the nose, and that she can turn out the vote. Yeah, well, back in 2024, you had She the People, Black PAC, and those other organizations funded by white dark money donors. They had their black front women out there selling the soap, and it didn't work. You had Michelle Obama trying to shame black men to the polls, and her live-in butler, Barry, trying to do the same. How did that work out? Did these black feminists manage to drag unprecedented numbers of black people, the black community, to the polls? Or did Kamala Harris go down in flames? Black women are not as dumb as Ashley Etienne seems to think, but this is how these DNC shills talk when they're around the white leadership of the party. There's absolutely no talk about policy, and certainly nothing about tangibles for any black people, black women, black men, or otherwise. All they talk about is, we can lead these people around by the nose, so that's why you need to listen to us. Oh, and make sure to give us a consulting gig too. That's the finesse that the incompetent operative class like Ashley Etienne try to run. She uses the terms black women, black voters, and black community almost interchangeably. I say almost because she makes it clear in her mind there's differences between the three. Now, I like to know what black women, even the silly ones, are foolish enough to believe the Democrats' empty promises at this late date. What black women have you seen who are mad at Democrats because Kamala Harris lost? These black women in Texas, even the ones who are on this county Democratic committees, they blame sexism in general for Kamala losing. So no, Ashley, even your own people at the local level, they see right through you. However, I have seen career Democrat shills like Ashley Etienne who have been salty at Joe Biden because he refused to pass the baton to Kamala the second he became president. It's these politically ambitious black female operatives like Ashley Etienne. They're the people trying to climb the political job ladder. They're the ones who are upset. because their fellow tether, Kamala, was undercut by Biden when he didn't immediately position her for a White House run the moment that he won office in 2020, because that's what they really wanted him to do. Instead, Biden let her swing in the wind, let her give one train wreck interview after the next, showing everybody she clearly ain't ready for prime time. Even internally, Biden never told Kamala that he was going to begin the process of positioning her to run in 2024. That's why she kept deferring to him in all of her interviews and never did anything to stand out or to step forward, because Biden made it clear he was the boss and he had no intentions of stepping down or stepping aside for her. It never occurred to these DNC dim bulbs like Ashley Etienne that the only reason, and I mean only reason, Biden even put the little tether on the ticket in the first place was to get Black female voters. Full stop. They saw the direction Black men were going, so they put all their chips on that. It's the same reason that they put Ketanji Brown on the Supreme Court. It was about bolstering those sagging Black female voter numbers because Black women had gotten tired of the scam too. They've been on the merry-go-round enough times to realize it doesn't go anywhere. So he gave a tether and a swirler a job and figured that was all he had to do to shore up his Black female support for 2024. Keep in mind, historically, that's the purpose that a vice presidential running mate serves, to help the presidential candidate win voters who they might be having trouble reaching. That's why you choose someone to be your running mate, because they can appeal to this or that constituency that the front runner on the ticket may not have a lot of support from. Biden wasn't thinking about how to make Kamala Harris president. Of course, he tried to run for re-election. I mean, why wouldn't he? Biden wanted the same thing that every first-term president wants, a second term. Far as he was concerned, he had no confidence in her. She was just there to get a particular constituency that he was weak with, but he never saw actual presidential potential in her. Same way Barack Obama made Biden his running mate, because as a biracial candidate, he needed a white male to be his running mate to put just enough of the racist white voters in the center at something less than full panic. Biden had already lost 2 presidential runs in a row on his own. And at his age, nobody was thinking that he was going to be a natural successor to Obama. That's why Biden didn't run in 2016. Hillary did. Biden's job was to get the white male voters who wouldn't even dream of voting for Obama unless there was a white man in the picture somewhere. And it worked. All throughout this piece, though, they kept switching between saying Black voters and Black women and Black community. This is DNC shill talk. Seeing that they're being ignored, the shills are still trying the old gender divide mess. And you see who they got out here selling the soap, a tether. And you got the clowns at Fox News platforming her. They're not even attacking her. What does that tell you? They're sitting here calling her a Texas native. Yeah, you got this Haitian immigrant who's a Texas native. This is the right corner of white supremacy validating one of the tools. Her real goal is to do her own lame brain version of the Hegelian dialectic. She presents a problem and then points to herself as the solution, because that's what she's really doing. She's auditioning for a job, just like her fellow Haitian tether Roly-Poly Martin. She's trying to do the old DNC consulting hustle.
So how do you get to those Black voters? How do you get to those 1.1 million voters that are not voting, those Black women that are feeling like they were betrayed by what happened to Kamala and then what happened to Jasmine Crockett?
A bootlick says the Democrats have a Black voter problem, either because Democrats are failing to reach Black voters with their message, or because Black voters really want to feel heard by Democrats, and that the answer to the Democrats' ills is to put said bootlick on the payroll as a consultant because they know how to reach these disaffected Black voters. Yeah, the same way Ashley Etienne did in 2024, right? Never a word about our tangibles, mind you, because the audience the bootlicks are playing to is a white one. Their sales pitch isn't for the Black community. It's for their consulting services to be offered to a white patron. And of course, part of the sales pitch is they make it clear they're not going to do anything that's against the interests of these white donors that they want to check from. And they also make it clear they're not going to do anything that's in the interest of the Black voters either, Black men or Black women. This is about trying to convince a white employer that they can lead Black people, specifically Black women, around by the nose. Ashley Etienne could really care less about Jasmine Crockett anyway. Her real purpose here is to try to appoint herself the spokeswoman for FBA voters, particularly FBA women. Like I've always told you, when these bootlick, boule, butt kissers like Roly-Poly, another Haitian tether, talk about how Democrats need to do this or that, and Black voters are valuable to Democrats for this or that, what they're really doing is auditioning for a gig as a DNC consultant. When you see these people on TV or online stumping for this or that candidate, that's just them trying to position themselves to get a job if that candidate wins office. This is what happened with Simone Mamie Sanders. And as I also told you, the bootlick two-step is for them to take that White House gig or that job working in some senator's staff, or in the case of Ashley Etienne working for Nancy Pelosi, and parlay that into a consulting job or a network TV show when they leave office. They use their time in DC to network and to line up their next big gig. It's just a resume enhancer to them, nothing more. They damn sure don't care about black people. If they did, then Simone Sanders would never have been out there lying about the Biden crime bill and saying that it had nothing to do with the mass incarceration that kicked off in the 90s. But she was so determined that she was going to get that White House press secretary job, and after that, she'd finally have enough clout to get a job that pays when she leaves the White House. And that's how she wound up on MSNBC. We've seen this with both Simone Sanders and Jen Psaki. That's exactly what they did when they left the Biden White House. But it seems there's not enough butter biscuits to go around because Ashley Etienne got left without a chair when the music stopped. And here she is trying to get the music to start up again. You can hear her little crusty toenails tapping as she gets ready to do her little buck dance for massa. So predictably, this tether is doing her job, trying to present herself as being one of us, and then saying the opposite of everything black voters say. And by the way, you notice this time around, Ashley Etienne, she ain't sticking up for Haitians. Didn't say a word about Haitians, just like Karine Stank-Pierre. Because when Jen Psaki resigned and Karine Stank-Pierre got her job, she made sure to mention every chance she got that she was the first Haitian to be a White House press secretary. She said that every chance she got. Oh, she wanted to make sure everybody knew she's of Haitian descent, don't you know? This is a Haitian woman here, just in case you didn't know. Yeah, that's how it was then, but now these guys are singing a brand new tune, and the new tune is Mum's the Word. All of a sudden, they're not out there beating their chest like Tarzan and repping Haiti. Gee, I wonder why. This is about lying, deceiving, whatever they got to do to get away with dictating our opinions to us. Oh, these are going to be the tethers leading the FBA masses around by the nose. See, we are the ones who know how to keep these people in line, massa. We're going to make sure they keep in line. We are the ones who know how to lead them around. See, we'll go ahead. We'll show you how it's done. You need to have one of their own. Well, someone who can try to palm themselves off as one of their own who lead them around by the nose. That's what they're trying to do. This is why false news felt comfortable giving Etienne space on their website. And they didn't attack her. They didn't try to discredit her. They didn't say, oh, well, this woman's wrong. Oh, no. They want this message out there to say that black voters are upset at Democrats, but not because they're not getting us any tangibles, but because a tether and a buffoon city girl didn't get elected. Because that doesn't threaten the status quo. It reinforces it. Well, black voters are staying home because we're not being offered anything. Ashley Etienne identifies with Kamala and Crockett because they're all trying to get as much money as they can and be cogs in a political machine. But without mentioning reparations or an anti-black hate crime bill or to demand a national registry for physicians whose black maternal and infant patients die or a national registry of DA's peremptory challenges during jury selection to make it mandatory that all grand jury proceedings must be public, if they're not doing those bare minimum things, then they're not speaking for us at all. So good luck to Ashley with getting that next Democrat consulting gig. I know it's tough for her since everyone treats her like she doesn't know anything. But given the fact that Ashley Etienne was part of the Biden White House, as she said, at the time that Kamala Harris got stomped out in every battleground state in the single most perplexing and inexcusable political loss in electoral history, given how terribly things went on her watch, maybe that's the reason why. Good day and be one. I'd like to take
You good, Timothy?
Brother, can you please stop this revisionist history, bro? You're not seen as humans in the.
Okay, slow down. Before we go there, let's calm down. Timothy, where are you from and what's your ethnic group, sir?
It doesn't matter. Can we talk about this?
We don't do that. No. You don't hop in here talking about it don't matter. It does matter. Okay, you slow down. It does matter. You're not just going to come in here barking. We don't do that, sir. This is not a meth lab. All right? Calm down and put the pipe down. Where are you from? What is
I'm from Ethiopia.
You're not from Ethiopia, sir. Where are you from?
Bro, it doesn't. What does it matter?
Why are you lying, sir? Because if you come in here lying, you're going to come in here just wasting time trolling. Now, what's your ethnic background, sir?
Bro, I'm from America originally.
What is your ethnic background, sir?
All right. I'm Italian.
This is not a trick question, sir.
I'm from Italy. My family's from Italy.
What part of Italy are they from?
It doesn't matter, bro. Southern Italy.
It will stop lying. You've lied about 4 or 5 times, so you're coming in with bad faith. You've lied about 3 things already, sir. So everything else is going to be in bad faith. That's what I'm saying. If we're going to have a conversation, we have to start with truth to power. If you're not even being honest with where you're from, you're just in here trolling, wasting time to project frustration. What are you frustrated about?
You lying?
Sir, you've sat up here and lied in the first 3 minutes. Everything out of your mouth is a lie, sir. You're projecting.
You're lying about being American.
What am I?
A descendant of enslaved Africans.
I'm a foundational Black American, sir.
Foundational is a subjective adjective. You say you're foundational. Many people do not believe you're foundational.
I don't give a damn what they believe. I got the tombstones to prove it, sir. This ain't about a belief. This ain't a religion. I can take you to tombstones of my family.
So could white people.
Going to the 17 and 1800s, sir. You understand that?
But your claim is you're foundational and white people aren't.
Didn't say that. White people are immigrants, sir.
White Anglo-Saxons are not immigrants to this country. They literally built this country. They're the philosophical foundation of this country. You're not.
Okay. If they built the country, why didn't they do it without us?
Sir, you were an extension of them. They brought you here on slave ships.
Oh, well, if they needed to bring us, then they couldn't build it then, right? You just proved it, right?
They needed people who they could subjugate easily, and you were that.
Okay, well, how come they couldn't do it on their own?
They subjugated you easily. They just needed free labor.
So they had to go all the way over to Africa and bring people over to build something for them? That means they couldn't do it, if that's your logic. Right?
What did you build?
This country.
How could illiterate slaves build the country?
Okay, slow down. You just said they built this country, but when they tried to do it on their own, they failed. Why did they fail?
Sir, you had no concept of architecture.
No. I asked you a question. If we had no concept of none of this stuff, then why did they fail when they tried to do it on their own?
How did they fail?
Before we came into the picture, they all failed with their colonies. You know, they tried to start different colonies over here. Every one of them failed, sir.
And so what did you bring?
Okay, I'm asking you a question because you keep changing the subject. You kept saying how the white people did it, but when they tried to do it on their own before 1619, they failed. Why?
Brother, they had the foundations of it already built here.
No, they didn't.
Yes, they did.
What? Name it.
They had a fur trade already set up.
Where?
In the north.
No, they didn't.
Yes, they did, and the South.
No.
The Spanish were here in the South.
And
in Florida.
They failed, and they had us with them. You know they had us with them, right?
So
Listen to what I'm saying. You're proving the Spanish only survived because they had people like Estebanico, the Moor with them. You understand that? They had black people with them. It was black people who built St. Augustine in Florida. I've seen letters of the Spanish begging the Spanish crown to send more Negroes over to help build, sir. You're proving my point. Timothy, you don't know history, do you?
It doesn't matter. I can observe with my eyes that you didn't build America. I look at your state right now.
We're California?
No, I look at the state of the black community in America right now. You did not build this country.
Yes, we did. We built everybody and the culture of it too, sir.
What's the culture exactly?
Everything that is American culture comes from foundational Black Americans. Everything positive, right?
Foundational Black Americans can't even speak coherent English, sir.
Yes, we can. We have,
sir. Speaking in proper English and sagging your pants is not the culture of America.
Yeah, sir. That's a stereotype. That's a stereotype porn. You get off on that, sir.
No one does.
You dig around on the internet looking for stuff like that because you get off on it, sir. You like to see brothers sag pants. That's your porn fetish.
So explain how you're the culture. Who comes and assimilates?
You talking about my culture, sir? You're too ashamed to even name where you're from. I asked you where you're from. You told about 3 lies. You are a failed tether.
I'm in a space about you, though.
But we're talking about you. You're trying to deflect from your failure, sir. You're over here in my country. You're an immigrant over here, sir. You come from an immigrant background. You are a failure. You come from failed stock, failed fleeing stock. You can't say nothing about me or any other foundational Black American. Your dusty family would not be over here if it were not for us, sir. Right?
And sir, the majority of your time in this country, you've been in chains or segregated. How are you proud of that?
Your failed homeland is decimated. I don't even care where it is. I know it's failed. I can hear the failure in your voice, sir. Because a lot of you failures, you come over here and the first thing you do is go look for some damn degenerate Black stereotypes to kind of harp on. You talking about sagging pants. Sir, that's failed tether talk. I bet those sagging pants are better than whatever shanty town you fled from, sir.
Just hurling ad homs, bro. You're not
hurling nothing. We're having an intervention with a failed tether laying up in my homeland, sir.
Again, you're revising history. You never
revising nothing, sir. I am the history. I can go to tombstones going back to the 17 and 1800s. You can't, sir. What part of East Africa you're from?
Your descendants.
Some of the because this is jealousy talk, and that's like an East African jealousy. I hear. I can smell the different flavors of jealousy. Yours smell like an East African jealousy because a lot of y'all East Africans try to claim Italian for some reason. I can tell by some of your lies. So you're one of them Horn of African tethers, aren't you?
I literally told you I was Ethiopian, bro.
I believe that it's probably Somalian or Sudanese or some shit. Right?
Whatever, man.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Sir, yeah.
At least we weren't slaves.
Who ain't you slaves over there now? Y'all enslaved now. They take y'all up there to Libya right now and spank that musty ass, sir, and slang you to Europeans. Now, what you talking about?
We don't claim to be the foundation of America.
Because you ain't.
You aren't either.
Yes, we are.
You are not the foundation of America, sir.
The foundation of America, sir. This shit didn't get built without us. We built this thing. It did nothing.
Sir, this is a first world.
We're the only first world melanated people on the planet, and you ain't.
Genuinely,
foundational Black Americans are the only first world melanated people on the planet, and you ain't. You had to flick flies off yourself to hop on damn Frontier Airlines to bring that ass over here with us, didn't you?
Sir, can I make a point?
Sir, the only thing that's pointing is them titties on your mama who's had to milk a damn goat somewhere and breastfeed all you little musty ass tethers to bring y'all on over here to us, sir. You ain't got you have no point, sir.
You're first world by chance. You're first world by chance.
We're first world by design, buddy.
No, sir. Not
Tethers got this thing where we lucked up. No. We got it out the mud.
You absolutely lucked up.
We didn't luck up on nothing. You lucked up on a green card. We got it out the mud, buddy. We didn't luck up on nothing. We got everything out the mud over here.
So what percentage of slaves came to America?
Don't matter.
Sir, there's no foundational Black Brazilians, no foundational Black Argentinians.
Argentina, whatever they want to do in Argentina, that's them. I don't live in Argentina. I don't live in Brazil. My family is in America, and we are foundational to this country. We are the oldest continuous ethnic group, sir.
How? How are you the oldest continuous ethnic group here?
Who else is older than us here as a continuous ethnic group? Who else?
The white Anglo-Saxons.
No, they're not, sir, because a lot of the people who are classified as white now weren't even considered white back then. So that
Anglo-Saxons, Anglo-Saxon Protestants.
an Anglo-Saxon. What's an Anglo-Saxon? Because pure Anglo-Saxons, the English of, they're a damn minority. They're a very small percentage of them now.
They're still way more powerful than you.
No, not really. Those are the hillbillies somewhere in a trailer park somewhere. There's a very small percentage of them. All these other people classified as white weren't even considered white in the 17 and 1800s.
And who designed that?
Many of them didn't get their white passes until the 1900s, sir. They're not even a continuous group. Huh?
Okay, you're talking about Benjamin Franklin, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson. All those people were white Anglo-Saxons.
Yeah.
And they built the country, not you.
How did they build it? And we were there building it. How they build it?
Bro, not a single black person signed the Constitution, not a single one.
Sir, we were the one who forced the Constitution to live up to what it was supposed to be.
Because it was never for you.
Oh, but we made it for us, sir. That's the great thing about us.
Sir, they saw you as subhuman.
We made it for us, though. We were the ones who gave it a soul. We were the ones who made them enforce it. Do you understand that? Because they had just broke off from Britain talking about no taxation without representation and we don't want to be enslaved. And they did all of this hooping and hollering and then turned around and tried to do the same thing. And we said, no, don't write no document being a hypocrite. Live up to this shit. We were the ones to force that. That's why everything in the Constitution really centers around us.
That's not true. Have you read what?
Dude, what's not true? Okay, break it down. Tell me what in the Constitution does not center us. Go ahead. Go. Let's break it.
You have me muted. The First Amendment, the Second Amendment, the Third Amendment, the Fourth Amendment. Every amendment has nothing to do with you.
Bullshit.
What does freedom of speech have to do with?
Okay, the Second Amendment, that was designed to suppress us because they knew what they were doing was wrong. That's why they needed the Second Amendment. A right to bear arms. Y'all better have these Negroes in check. That's what the Second Amendment was for. Then they had the 3/5 clause. In the original Constitution, they had a fugitive slave clause. The whole Constitution was about us, sir.
Oh my God. Why do you center yourself here?
No, sir. Let's talk truth about it. The 13th Amendment is about us. The 14th Amendment is literally about us because we were the ones having a grassroots movement to push the 14th Amendment to make sure everything was equal. The hell you mean it ain't about all of it was about us? Hell, they just had a Supreme Court decision talking about the birthright citizenship and talking about the Constitution. Who did they keep bringing up? The babies of slaves. They are talking about us now in relation to the Constitution, sir.
That's because they don't want any of these other people here.
Like,
just like they didn't want you.
Like you. They didn't want musty tethers like you, sir.
Sir. You realize this is supposed to be a white ethno state. This was not included with you.
We didn't allow that to happen. We do know they wanted to make this into a white ethno state, and this thing would have collapsed a long time ago because that's not sustainable, having a white ethno state. That's not because you got to suppress people. That would not have sustained itself. It was going to collapse. We had to stop it from collapsing. That's why you were able to come over here and be musty, right?
Sir, they saw you as subhuman. What don't you understand?
Damn about what they saw. We saw ourselves as the foundation. That's the thing. That's the difference between us and you tethers. Your whole disposition is on how white people see you. That's a colonized mindset because in your failed homeland, y'all sit up looking for helicopters, waiting on Sally Struthers to drop off that Red Cross rice to your ass. So everything is about how the white people see you. When the white people show up, you go throw your flip-flops on and start doing your tribal dance. We don't think like that. We don't give a damn what they think. We're going to make them do the right goddamn thing. You understand that?
And that's why you refuse to go back to Liberia.
We ain't from no damn Liberia. The hell you talking about?
You're not from America.
Yes, we are.
How?
We've been here from the very beginning, sir.
By chance.
By chance. We have indigenous ancestry here too. Y'all hate when we bring that up. We got indigenous ancestry here. This has always been a black land.
Yeah, because you fled from the plantation.
No, sir. We've had indigenous ancestry way before the Europeans got here too, sir.
What proof do you have of that?
Yeah. You know we got proof.
What proof do you have of that?
Yeah. We broken that down, and if you listened to us before, so you know that. I don't even have to run it down no more, sir.
So what about the Lewis and Clark expedition where the natives came across the slave that they had and they touched his skin and they said they'd never seen a black man's skin before?
That's bullshit. They were tripping on York. His name is York, and they were tripping on him because he was big as hell. He was like 6 foot something. They ain't never seen a nigga that big. So they were like, "Where did y'all get this big nigga?"
They were touching his skin. They were not touching his they were not admiring his height. They were touching his skin. They'd never seen a dark-skinned black person before.
Yes, they do. They've seen dark natives before, but especially in California and all those places, sir.
Yeah, but they're distinct from you with a wide shotgun nose and nappy hair.
Sir, they knew that we were different from you with that big Tweety bird head and flies and musk and flip-flops. So yeah, there's a difference. They knew something was different about this muscular, strong, 6 foot something black man. They were like, damn, where y'all get him from?
That's not what you should go read. You should go read the writings about that. That's not true.
Sir, I know the writings, sir. I know all about it, sir. They've seen black people before.
So why they touch his skin and thought it was gonna rub off?
Oh, please. They saw black people all over this place, sir. And why did they have translators? You had Estevanico, people like that. He was black and he was going up in them indigenous tribes, and he took indigenous wives. So we'd always interacted with these people, and there were black indigenous people all over the place, sir.
I'm so confused. So if you're proving your inferiority, then you're proving your inferiority.
You're projecting. Don't project on me. You're projecting. You're projecting, sir.
So you're saying you were at once the majority in this country if you were black and indigenous,
sir. We weren't the majority. There's all types of different types of indigenous people. You have the black indigenous, you have the red indigenous people. You had all of these white scholars talk about the pockets of indigenous tribes that were in America, sir. Do you think there were no black people here?
It's irrelevant. My point is. No.
You really think, let's be fair, let me just see where your mindset is. You think that there were no black people here for thousands of years on this big ass land?
There might have been some black people here.
All right, there you go. Okay. I was about to say, because there's black people everywhere, all over the planet. In small.
They might have been dark skinned. I don't know.
They were going around calling people negritos. When the Europeans, when they went over to Polynesia and Asia and saw the original inhabitants of Asia and all those places, they were like, these are negritos, little black people. They did this all over the place, sir.
Okay, can I ask you a question then?
But you acknowledge what I just said, right?
Sure. I don't think there's any haplogroup or anthropologists have not confirmed what you said, but I mean, you can say whatever you want to.
You said a haplogroup. No, you just pick up a history book.
No, anthropologists have nailed this to the ground. I don't think they've ever proven that there have been black people here. Black people like you with the wide shotgun nose and nappy hair, but
well, what are those Olmec statues down in Mexico? They got big noses, shotgun noses like me, and nappy hair. They got braids in their hair and shit.
Those are mestizo people. Those are not black people.
What's the mestizo? There's no such thing as a mestizo thousands of years ago.
Or the indigenous down there, the indigenous in Mexico or wherever those are.
Spanish, sir. There was no such thing as a damn mestizo during the time of the Olmecs. What the hell are you talking about?
Well, the indigenous down there, Aztec.
Yeah, they weren't, the Olmecs weren't Aztec.
So what were they? I don't know. I'm not even familiar with the Olmec statues.
They were black indigenous.
Where are the other replicas of those people elsewhere across the continent?
Dude, have you been to Mexico? Go to the bone and pack murals in those temples there. They got paintings of black people with dreadlocks. Go down. I've seen them. I've been there and I've seen them. I've been to the Olmec statues. I've seen all of them. They got big ass. One of them looked like Jay-Z, lips so damn big. Yeah, these are black people, sir.
So black people are only people with full lips. Is that what you're saying?
With big ass lips, yeah.
Okay. But I got a question. Can I ask you a question?
Let me ask you this. When are you going back to fix your homeland?
Bro, can I ask you a question?
You've been asking me questions. I got to ask you something. When have you gone back to fix your homeland, sir?
I don't really need to leave. I'm getting educated here.
Right. It's called you're welcome. If it weren't for us, you would be somewhere.
I'm at a white institution, though, so I mean, I don't really need to thank you.
Well, yes, you do. You're not at a white institution.
Yes, I am.
No, you're not, sir.
Bro, I'm at the University of Florida, bro.
I don't even believe that, sir. I don't believe
I don't know why I would need to lie to you. I mean,
University of 7-Eleven. You work at a 7-Eleven fixing Slurpee machines. You're not doing anything. You're doing tether shit, sir. You should thank us for having you come over here and do all that stuff. You feel me?
funny thing is, I'm in the National Society of Black Engineers.
Yeah, let me talk to some more people. I'm bored. You're boring me. Just debunking a jealous tether is just too easy. Carlos, let's get Carlos in the building. Mr. Carlos, hop on in. All right. Waiting on Carlos to get it together. Yeah, this is okay. I'm just smacking around a tether verbally. It's boring. Carlos, what's up, Carlos? Carlos, unmute your microphone, man. All right. All right, let's try Jaway. Let's try Jaway. Jaway, what's up, brother?
Hey, what's up? How you doing? I just wanted to say, to Himasi, like when you were talking about Liberia, you know that Liberia was established.
Can you hear me now?
Hold on, Carlos. I'll get you in a second. Go ahead, Ja.
I didn't appreciate how you was talking to you about how saying go back to Liberia. Liberia was established for the slaves to go back to. So, like, where did you get your history from, Timothy, when you were saying that? That's all I wanted to say.
There you go. Thank you, brother. Carlos, what's up, Carlos?
Hey, Tarek. It is a pleasure to talk to you again. And what you're saying is magical.
Yes.
Because you're right. You guys were here so many years ago. I mean, even before the Spaniards.
Yeah.
I know, I do know history. And I would like to appreciate what you are talking about tonight on behalf of the American 250th anniversary, which you guys deserve.
Yes.
To be happy about.
Absolutely.
But we have a 500,000 year civilization down here from Mexico all the way to Argentina. We have come together for the last few years, which I haven't seen in the United States. I pray for my beloved United States because I learned English from watching your movies, guys. I mean, I was like 7 years old and I watched like Star Wars and then RoboCop and then Terminator and whatnot.
Okay.
But I understood, and I skated in Los Angeles. I skated with Tony Hawk. I'm a skateboarder. I'm a surfer, and I always like to appreciate the good wealth of the United States because that's going to help us develop better, relationships. But now Mexico, it's the fiesta. Why? Because we are going to face England on the World Cup, and we have been doing great with our president, Claudia Sheinbaum.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much, brother. I appreciate you, Carlos. I appreciate you. Look, I don't know what Carlos is talking about. Carlos all over the place. Eastsider, what's up, Eastsider?
What's going on with it, man? Easter deal, cuz. How you feel?
I'm good, man. How you doing, fam?
Oh man, just burning midnight oil. You already know. But check this out, man. I wanted to say something while homeboy was on the line. I was gonna tell him, if he saved from Ethiopia, he's welcome. Because without us, they would have got colonized by Italy.
Oh, yeah.
As far as the genetic markers go, look up Mike Hammer. It was an author who did some research on the oldest bones here in American soil. It was A00 by from Albert Perry, found in Sumter, South Carolina.
Oh yeah.
People need to understand that we've been here. We grew here, they flew here. As our brother Black Al was saying, I see him in the chat. So you know what I'm saying? Just go ahead and keep on spitting that game, man.
Respect, man. Thank you so much. Yeah, man. Yeah, these folks hate to deal with the fact. And I'm glad the Ethiopian tether was at least man enough to admit that there were Black people here. When people, the tethers don't want to acknowledge that because they have to make us perpetual foreigners like them. They have to make it seem like we just kind of happen to show up. All right. Let's be very, very clear. I ain't gonna sit here and just let them waste my time because we done proved it over and over again. We done showed books. We've given references. We done given anthropological records. I mean, we were here. We were here before the red Siberian natives. We've always been on this land. Family, if you go around the world, because when you start hitting them with logic, they start trying to talk in circles. When you go around the world and you see that there are Black indigenous people literally everywhere, all through Asia, all through Polynesia, everywhere. And the Spanish and the Portuguese, all these people, they encountered them and they would call them negritos. The British saw these dark people when they went over there to Australia. They called them black fellows. Tasmania, black. Over there, when they went to what the area now is New Guinea, they were like, these look like the people in Guinea. Guinea was West Africa. That's what they called West Africa at the time. That's why they were like, shit, they look just like the people. So this is New Guinea. You understand? You go through all of these Polynesian islands with these black people with froze. Fiji, black people with froze. Samoa, black people with froze. Hell, some of the original Hawaiians, before they were really mixed up, they were black people with froze. I went to Tahiti. You got some people down there looking like black folks in Harlem. You understand? You think black folks reached all of those places? All these little tiny islands in the middle of the Pacific Ocean and all that, but didn't get to this big ass continent? You got to be out of your mind. This is why Lucia woman, when they got Lucia woman and did a reconstruction of her, the black lady. You understand? Israelite. What's up, brother? Israelite. Oh, wait, I didn't hit you. My bad, Israelite. I got to, let me get you in here. Israelite, hop on in, brother. My bad, I didn't hit the button for you. Israelite, what's up, bro?
Hey, Tariq, can you hear me?
I can hear you, man. How you doing?
I'm good, man. How about yourself? I got my daughter in the background, man. So you hear her, she on my tablet. My bad.
Okay, it's all gravy. What's going on?
Yeah, man. I appreciate everything you do, man. You are definitely, a staple in in our foundational community.
I appreciate.
Yeah, definitely. With these tethers, man, it's crazy how just of a defeated mindset these people have. This is ridiculous, man. To where they can they will do anything and everything the white man say. They will, they will just jump hoops. They like little circus animals. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, basically, when you're going back with the 4th of July, I kind of understand what you're saying about, us celebrating it, but then I go on the fence to 250 years of being under a white supremacist, construction of, of this, this system. It's like, I do basically empires don't really last no more than 250 years. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it depends, that's usually when they fall around that time frame. So if we are celebrating, I'm praying that we celebrate the fall of this system and bring in that system of justice that you talk about.
A very good point. But let me break that. Listen, because people, again, they try to make the United States synonymous with white supremacy. It ain't that. We got to understand the distinction between the republic and the parasite. All right. We got to stop allowing the damn dominant society to convince us that we're victims of America. No, we're the co-founders of America, the builders, the economic engine of America. We're victims of white supremacy. That's a global, the key word is global. White supremacy is a global parasitic ideology that hijacked the republic over here to try to benefit one group. Feel me and follow me, family. The white supremacists went around the world like a parasite, decimating all of these other places, ladies and gentlemen, like that Ethiopian tether who called up, they decimated his shit. All over Africa, they decimated it. India, they decimated it. All over, they just go around decimating everything, especially among melanated people. Anywhere there's melanated people, the parasitic white supremacists went in and just decimated all of it. We are the only ones they didn't decimate. We're the only ones who pushed back against their asses and kept them at bay. That's why everybody has to come over here under us. That's why we're the only first world melanated people. Do you understand that? Feel me on this shit, man. And we didn't let them just hijack this shit so that it's going to benefit one damn group. Just like they would go set up little apartheid systems all over the place where they get all the benefits and everybody else is in squalor. We're the only ones who said, fuck all that. You understand what I'm saying? We said these laws going to be equal. The civil rights is going to be equal. Everything is going to be equal. We ain't going to be sitting up in no damn shanty town while y'all sitting up here enjoying the fruits of our labor. No, we'll whoop your ass and your mama ass and everybody ass with you. We're not going to have that. You understand? So the United States is the soil, the infrastructure, the constitutional framework of this country. White supremacy is a virus that has tried to infect it, and we've always had to cure the damn virus. So we're not guests in our own house. Everything great about the United States comes from us. And I'm talking about not just the culture, I'm talking about the legislative branch, the constitutional foundation. All of that is great because of us. We paid for this real estate in blood, sweat, tears, free labor. So when we critique the system, we're not hating the country. We're trying to cure the country of a goddamn parasite that tries to infect it the way it infected everything else. You understand? The white supremacists are not patriots. Don't let them fool you with all that fake posturing. These people ain't no patriots. They'll turn against this country at the drop of a hat. We're the only ones that make them get some act right. They try to posture with all that fake patriotism. When they said, hey, y'all can't sit up here and exploit, y'all can't expand slavery to the West no more. Y'all can't do all that. They're like, man, give me that cannon. We about to shoot these niggas. You know, they started a civil war. When the U.S. government threatened the economic engine of white supremacy, chattel slavery, half the country committed high treason, took up arms, killed hundreds of thousands of each other. They were killing each other. They tried to destroy the United States. Their loyalty was never to the stars and stripes of the Republic. Their loyalty was to white supremacy. Look, go read the Confederate stuff. They were literally trying to set up a white supremacist regime. They wanted a white supremacist ethno-state. And we said, hell no. They wanted to burn this whole thing to the ground. You understand? They've always been like that. So they have conditional patriotism and anti-government hypocrisy. The white supremacist power structure, they like the United States when the government when the government acts as an operating enforcer for white supremacy. That's the only time they like the government. You understand? When the government is whooping down on us, they law and order, shit. When they're pew-pewing a black kid in the back, blue lives matter. We got to back the blue. Back the blue. Now, the minute law enforcement and the government tells these white supremacists to sit their ass down, oh shit, January 6th, listen, insurrection. We're going to have to run up in the Capitol. They trying to tell us what to do. You tell the white supremacists, put your guns down, that Ruby Ridge and all that shit. These white supremacists have a fit. Oh, take your hands off our guns. That Cliven Bundy, when the government swoops down on them, boy, oh, this is tyranny. Oh, this is tyranny. Oh, we got to stop this big government, big government, big government, big tyranny. You see? So the white supremacists are hypocrites. They don't give a shit about no United States. They don't care about that at all. They will sabotage American infrastructure just to spite us because they know we stand on democracy business. We're the moral authority of this nation. We stand on democracy business. If you truly love your country, you want the infrastructure to thrive. The dominant society, they have a long history of sabotaging American progress just to maintain their bullshit racial hierarchy. Look at the history of public schools. And by the way, public schools came from us too. All right? The Freedmen schools. Do y'all know that? So a lot of stuff comes from us in this country. We had the first public schools. In fact, public schools were looked at as a Negro thing. Do y'all understand that? They like, that's some Negro stuff. What you mean a public school? We need these kids out here working in a farm. Damn, going to a school. The rural white people didn't want their kids going to school. For what? You gonna work in this damn farm and pick these potatoes? We were the ones having sponsored education, required education. We started that. Then they had to come pick up on that. A lot of stuff came from us, even the numbers running and all that. The lottery came from the modern lottery came from us running them numbers. We had an underground economy where we're running numbers. The free lunch program came from the Black Panthers, ladies and gentlemen. Before the Black Panthers, there was no free lunch, free breakfast program. They didn't have no goddamn free breakfast program before the Black Panthers. They saw what the Black Panthers were doing. That's why they had to neutralize them, because when you start feeding a community, that's the first step in nation building. They said, oh, we can't have these black men taking charge and feeding the community. Oh, let's get them out of here. Their guns and stuff wasn't the problem, because all they did was change the gun laws with the Black Panthers. When the Black Panthers was walking around with guns, all that shit, we just changed the gun law. The problem was when they were feeding people. That's a bridge too far. Oh, we got to stop that. You see? But yeah, these people will destroy the infrastructure of the United States, or anything that's thriving, that's a threat to their racial hierarchy. I was just in the beautiful Tulsa, Oklahoma. Shout out to Tulsa. Respect to Tulsa, Oklahoma. Went down to the beautiful Black Wall Street. My condolences go out to those people. Jerry, hold on, brother. I'll get you in a second. But yeah, that was a beautiful infrastructure that those beautiful foundational Black Americans built. These jealous, demonic white supremacists dropped a bomb on that community, ladies and gentlemen. The fact that they've rebuilt and they're thriving and doing their thing to this day is amazing. They literally dropped a bomb on these people. You understand? These folks don't give a shit about no damn United States. Foundational Black Americans, we are the true constitutional anchors. Again, we're the ones who actually forced the United States to become a functioning democracy. We are the true anchors of the republic. It was our lineage through centuries of legal battles and protests and survival that forced the U.S. to live up to the Constitution. The 13th, 14th, 15th Amendment, the foundation of the American civil rights, all of that exists because of our presence and our fight. Remember, the white supremacists were the hostile occupiers trying to subvert the Constitution. We were the defense attorneys fighting to enforce it. That's why all of these people benefit off of it now. Let's get Val. Val, hop on in.
Hi, Tariq. Happy birthday. Blessings to the family. I know you brought all the ancestors back with you.
Yes.
Tariq, I need you to expand more on that 3/5 thing. These people are out here on these spaces, and because of their jealousy, which is a sickness of us, they try to come at us with that 3/5. And it's really annoying, and I'm like the type, I just want to jap it, you know, but they really need to understand that that was created to try and make them feel better or powerful, and try to diminish us as a people. No one on this planet has been able to be released from enslavement and within a 10-year span build communities, neighborhoods filled with all types of inventions and prosperity. So 3/5 of a person could not do that, could not accomplish that, right? Yeah. So if you or Daniel or someone could expand on this, because it needs to be a comeback that shuts them down.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, the tethers try to throw that 3/5 thing out there, like a 3/5 of a human, to make it seem like, well, we were just looked at as subhuman. So there's a misconception in that to a certain degree. They think it was about determining the humanity of Black people. It wasn't. They knew what they were doing. See, the debate was about political power. It was about congressional representation and taxation. So it was about negotiating how much leverage the southern states was going to have over the new government. Representation in the House of Representatives was based on population, okay? The Southern enslavers looked at their states and realized if they only counted the white population, they were going to be completely outnumbered and outvoted by the North in Congress. Okay, y'all following me so far? So suddenly the South wanted to count every single enslaved Black person so they can artificially inflate the population numbers and hijack control of the House. All right. This is where we see the hypocrisy of the system. The Southern enslavers, they classified Black people as property, meaning they had no human rights, no legal standing, no freedom. But now they wanted to allocate political power in Washington, and those same enslavers demanded that their property be counted as people now. All right. So they wanted to use Black bodies to basically give the white enslavers more votes. The Northern opposition was like, hey, wait, no. No. The Northern delegates, they didn't push back because they were champions of Black liberation. They pushed back because they didn't want the South dominating the federal government. So the North argued that if the South legally considered enslaved Black people to be property, then they shouldn't be counted for representation at all. You know what I'm saying? Just like if this is your property, they're like a horse or something, where your horse or your plow shouldn't be counted, if that's going to be your logic. All right. So to keep the Constitutional Convention from falling apart, they struck this little bullshit deal. They established that the purpose for representation and taxation, they would count the entire free population and then add 3/5 of all other persons, which was coded language for enslaved people. So that was a mathematical formula basically designed to give the South extra political weight without granting Black people a right. You understand? And that was how they controlled the Electoral College, which they still control to this day. See, this is the part that gets left out of history, because the number of Electoral College votes a state gets is directly tied to its representation in college. The 3/5 clause handed the South the presidency for decades. So that artificial inflation, that's why Thomas Jefferson won the election in 1800. That's the reason why a lot of the early presidents were Southern enslavers. So they literally built their executive power on the backs of unrepresented Black people. So that was like the blueprint for political exploitation. See, the real legacy of that 3/5 clause is baked into the precedent of the foundation of the country. You use Black bodies to generate political capital for white power structures while you're actively disenfranchising the Black people being counted. You see, so that was about. It was like, we don't want to give y'all rights, but we need your damn body here. So we'll just say you 3/5 of a person, just so we don't have to say your property. All right. Does that make sense, guys? Did I explain it to a, I just kind of gave a rudimentary rundown, but that's basically what it is. They needed our bodies, but didn't want to give us the rights. So it wasn't them looking at us as not human and bullshit like that. This is how we can use these Negroes and not give them rights. All right. Black Alpha, hop on, brother.
Hey, man, you cooking tonight, brother. Make it plain for him, family. Make it plain.
Sir, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, family. Hey, I'm loving how you breaking it down, family, and I love the perspective. A lot of people got to operate under how we operate. We're foundational Black Americans, and we said so. So this whole notion where the dominant society called us this, and this is a system of supremacy, foundational Black Americans have been here before any immigrant showed up, before any supremacist showed up, and anybody who has a different thought in their mind is absolutely out of their complete brain. Foundational Black Americans, we served in every single war in this country. There wouldn't be no 4th of July, 5th of July, 6th of July, none of that without us. And if you look at the dominant society, Bill Clinton, ex-president, he dodged the draft. George W. Bush, draft dodger. Donald Trump, draft dodger. Where our brothers and sisters was out there fighting in every single war, these people be the first ones to pack up, split, get out of Dodge immediately if anything ever goes down. So when we say there's no USA without FBA, we truly, genuinely mean that. We are the core of everything that's ever happened great in this country. And if you look right now, these people can't take claim to the United States of America because in essence, the things that they do inside of these borders is absolutely the opposite of being patriotic. But like you stated before, brother, you go from food programs, you're talking about fighting wars, you're talking about every social movement. It all has FBA fingerprints. So I tell everybody that the future will be written in foundational Black American handwriting because the past has foundational Black American fingerprints all over it. Shout out to you, fam.
Follow Black Alpha's YouTube channel. Y'all better follow my brother. He's in the new Hidden Color 6 cooking. He's cooking.
If you're not already subscribed to this YouTube channel, go ahead and hit the subscribe button now, along with the bell icon so you can be notified whenever a new video is posted. And if you're already subscribed, check and make sure that YouTube hasn't unsubscribed you. And of course, be sure to give the video a like as well as share it on your social media. The white supremacists hate that. And now, the Sunday address. You know, there was a large part of me that actually wanted to post this yesterday, as part of the regular 4th of July address. But the problem that I had basically was the entire premise behind it is that the 4th of July is just another day for us. And well, if I were to take out time to do that, well, we're treating it as if it has some sort of importance. And well, this is one of those cases of you could believe whatever you want on that front and still be right. Maybe it's worth kicking it, or maybe we just say, you know what, it can wait till tomorrow. I chose to go with the latter. So, yesterday was July 4th, America's 250th birthday. But it is fitting that we're doing this today on July 5th, that I'm giving this little statement of mine, because it was on July 5th, 1852, that Frederick Douglass gave his famous "What to the Slave is the 4th of July" speech. The question today would be, what to a foundational Black American or freedman is the 4th of July? Well, I'll tell you exactly what it is. It's 250 years of lies, genocide, lies, brutality, lies, injustice. Oh, and did I forget to mention lies? Oh, we're celebrating the history of America. Oh, you're celebrating freedom and democracy, freedom that you've never had and democracy that you've never been able to exercise. Paul Mooney said that we are stolen property. Well, I would say the equal crime to that is that we are a people who have been stolen from. We have been robbed on a grand scale. By far, the main things that we've been robbed of is the produce of our own labor and the basic human right to enjoy whatever formal opportunities exist. That's supposed to be just the bare minimum of being human. And yet, this sick, evil, anti-Black society dedicates itself to making sure that Black people have none of those things. The ones who robbed us have been all around us every day. We see the perpetrators of the crime on a daily basis, and we see them setting up a system where they are allowed to enjoy what they robbed us of. And they resent the fact that we refuse to co-sign their theft. In a world of white lies, the greatest crime is to speak the Black truth. They hate the fact that we refuse to go ahead and say, well, all that stuff you did, we're going to make nice today as if you didn't do it. They hate the fact that we will not sit there and bless their theft even for one day. Why? Because everybody else does it. Everybody else knuckles under. Everybody else sings the song and tries to get along with Master Charlie, but not us. Never us. They know they can never finalize the lie of their legitimacy until and unless we agree to it. And we have told them time and again that we do not and will not. And that is what forms their resentment at us at times like these. We don't just make it awkward for them to be calling themselves celebrating. We expose it and them for the moral frauds they are. We put the lie to all of it. They want to be unapologetically proud of their white supremacy, but we make it where they can't. And as powerful as white supremacy is, it failed to break us. Now, with everybody else, it broke everybody else. It broke all these other folks. But us, no. Everybody else, they didn't even really get broken, truth be told. They surrendered without a shot fired. They just threw up their hands and said, Master, we give up. But us, we said, nah, we don't bend. These knees don't bend. And this will does not break. They failed to make us collaborators with their evil, and they failed to get us to accommodate their savagery. All their power, and they can't make us do the simplest thing, which is to repeat a lie. Everybody else has, everybody else does, but us, never. Now, that's something worth celebrating. You want to be proud of something, be proud of a people who stood up to the greatest evil the world's ever known. And while everybody else has been bowing and scraping and doing everything they can to be adjacent to white supremacy, we've done everything we can to be opposed to white supremacy. The fight that's been going on has basically been about many things, but mainly it's about the idea of America. That's where the term Constitution comes from. That's why it's called the Constitution of the United States. It comes from the root term constitute. Constitute means to form or make something. In this case, a nation, so-called nation. What is it that forms or makes up this particular nation, the United States? Well, they wrote it down. And the foundation of the Constitution, the thing that makes the United States what it is, the indispensable element that this nation must have, is anti-Black racism. The artificial racial pyramid that the white society invented to justify and unify itself and to assign themselves a superior place over us, that is what constitutes the United States of America. That is the end all and be all of it. It is not based on anti-Latino sentiment or anti-Asian anything or anti-Semitism. It is based on one thing and one thing only: anti-Black racism. We are the only racial group mentioned specifically by name in the Constitution, and they did it explicitly to make it crystal clear that in this country, the idea of the United States, the totality of it, is that Black people are inferior. That is what the Constitution is about, because that's what the United States is about. A 250-year-long experiment in anti-Black racism. But every time we fight, every time we stand up, every time we revolt, every time we point the finger at truth at these liars, and that we speak the words that they don't want to hear, which is the reality, because that's what truth is. Truth is reality. The longest and strongest freedom struggle in the history of the world has been waged by our people, the foundational Black American struggle. And as a result, this 250-year-long experiment in Black oppression basically has to be declared experiment failed. Because the main thing the experiment was meant to do was to break us and make us say, okay, well, we're going to go along with it too. And it's okay, Massa, it's okay. And we said, hell no. They know exactly who and what we are. And they absolutely need us to sign off on this. They need us to. Why? Because white privilege is simply too weak and too feeble an idea to try to base a country on. The culture that produced white supremacy is weak and feeble, as are those who depend on it for every crumb of their daily bread. A nation, a real one, requires a strong foundation if it's going to exist and endure. And the foundational Black Americans who literally laid the cornerstones of this country, from Wall Street to the White House to the Capitol building to the folkways, music, art, language, and most importantly, the moral ideology that this country keeps appropriating, that came from us. It damn sure didn't come from them. Slave owners and their beneficiaries could never have built this country. They were literally too lazy to build a wall or a White House or the very plantations that they depended on. Hell, they tried to make their own farms. We know what happened to Roanoke. They starved. We were the game changer. We were the ones who did all that. The American identity, such as it is in fact a bastardized and whitewashed perversion of our FBA identity. Everything they claim as theirs was cast off European culture that was dying anyway, or what they stole from us, which is the only thing that had the pulse. So much of the very language that they speak originated with our culture, or at the very least, it arose directly from our condition in this oppressive society, because you cannot separate the two, except that's what white power has had to try to do to justify itself. The struggle that white society has had against black empowerment is ultimately about defining what America means, what the idea of America is. And if there's going to be a definition, then the single most important thing to the dominant society is that they must be the ones to define it. Sure, the definition can be cobbled together from what they stole from us, and they can lie through their teeth about where it came from and try to palm off this phony, stupid lie that, oh, we're all just one big melting pot. This is someone eating at a table after we cooked the food, after we laid it out. They just sit down and afterwards claim that they did as much to prepare and cook and present the meal as we did. If America is going to have a definition, then that definition is as much about who defines it as it is the definition itself. When you look at our history, you see every single one of the pieces and cornerstones of what constitutes this phony masquerade of a nation that wants people to see it as honorable. All of the things, the good things that people actually like and claim are actually decent about this country begins and ends with us and no one else. No immigrant from anywhere else brought it here. Not from Europe, not from Asia, and not from Africa or the Caribbean. Like white society, the immigrants also laid claim to our culture and then tried to afterwards falsely say that they had something to do with it. Those of you who have followed me from the very beginning, you know that I initially started off doing videos about the history of ancient Kemet. Some of you might have heard it called Egypt. The Europeans cannot lay claim to it because there's nothing in Europe that came before Egypt. Inside of Africa, starting in the Great Lakes region, you can find, like perfect breadcrumbs, the archaeological and historical and cultural antecedents coming northward, showing the evolution and development of the things that would ultimately culminate in the Nile Delta. Stone masonry, obelisks, the conical crown of Egypt, the worship of their gods, all those things began south of Egypt and made their way north. None of it was in Europe or Asia at all, and none of it came from either of those places. That's why when the Europeans came into Egypt, their first impulse was to use the Sphinx for target practice. When the Arabs came to Egypt, they dismantled the pyramids' limestone shells and used the stone to build their mosques. And when the Europeans came in, they used dynamite to blast the tops off the pyramids of Nubia, modern-day Sudan. And both the Europeans and the Arabs plundered everything they could from the tombs of the dead. They showed no respect for these places because they were aliens there. It wasn't their culture and never could be. All they could think to do was to destroy it because they are destroyers. When you look at the attempt to lie and claim that others were involved in what we created and what we brought into being, you see the exact same thing. You can't claim that Haiti invented the culture of New Orleans, but there are those who have tried, because of course, Haiti is what gave the world jazz. Don't you know? New Orleans didn't give the world jazz. It started in Haiti. Where in Haiti do you find anything that shows the Haitians had any form of music or expression that was similar to anything that would have given rise to jazz? Part of what came out of setting the record straight on the real history of hip-hop is that people brought receipts on where every single component of hip-hop culture originated from, here with us. Everything from the slang and the mannerisms to the dance and floor work, we showed how everything people saw in the 70s and 80s had already existed in foundational Black American culture way back in the early 20th century, when hip-hop wasn't even a word yet. People like Brother Tariq showed the birth, evolution, and maturation of the culture here in our hands. Nobody else can do that. The only way you can believe these things came from Puerto Rico or the Caribbean or anywhere else is that you have to believe that culture just springs out of the ground. That culture doesn't begin somewhere, and there's certainly no record of its development or growth. The same way that the only means the Arabs and Europeans can use to lay claim to Egypt is to start off from the false premise that the culture of the Nile just simply sprung up out of the ground. No, if we're going to have a discussion about history, then you have to bring the facts. And if your only fact is that there were some Puerto Ricans who were standing on a street corner back in 1989, and that somehow makes them the creators of hip hop, or if your fact is that some Haitian in 1978 claimed that their father visited the French Quarter back in World War II, so that means jazz, which had already been in existence long before that, somehow was Haitian in origin, then that means you don't have any proof. You see, the struggle of our time, the struggle that we have been waging for centuries, is a struggle between truth and lies, a struggle between white supremacy on the one hand and justice on the other. Every alleged good thing about this evil, wicked country has come exclusively and only because of us. You literally can't name anything else because every other thing about this country has been the same old corruption and evil at worst and trivial and meaningless at best. These anti-FBA immigrants who come here, they don't even have a frame of reference for themselves outside of us. They can't conceive or express an identity without us because we are the only example of group pride, self-determination, and individual affirmation outside of white society. Everyone else is trying to become some model minority or the good black immigrant or some other version of white adjacent. And now they're starting to see what we've said all along. White power never had any permanent plans for any of them. And that's the reason why July 4th is not a day that I'm going to be running around celebrating and going, oh, I've got tears in my eyes because of how great this land is. No, the people who built it, us, we are great. But as for all of those sorry slave owners and their beneficiaries, not a chance. We cannot and will not stop fighting so long as this country is ruled by anti-black racists who set up a society where their lives are based on depriving us of ours. July 4th is not some great august occasion. It is a day that should live in infamy. This time of year, the white media, corporate America, they can always be counted on to put some portrait up there showing these so-called founders of the United States and hoping that your heart will go pitter-pat for them. Oh, you're going to look at these guys as being individuals to look up to. Let me tell you something. I have nothing but contempt for that gang of slave owners, rapists, and genocidal lunatics. When you look at the portrait of the so-called founders of the U.S., that's not some picture of great statesmen. This is Philadelphia's 10 Most Wanted. It's a collection of rapists, murderers, thieves, human traffickers, and serial killers. And the people who deify these scum are the exact same way. They didn't found this country. They couldn't have founded it because the country was here before they were. And they weren't the first ones here. Our ancestors were. And it wasn't their sweat and toil that built anything. It was ours. What the hell did they found? What the hell did they lay the foundation for? Other people built the farms and worked the land. Other people built the White House, built the great structures that they call the cornerstones of their government. Other people did the labor that created the economic wealth. What did the founders found? What the hell did they contribute other than sitting back and telling themselves how great they thought they are? The so-called ideals, every one of the laws that white society pretends to revere so much about this country, none of that came from them. It didn't come from any of these immigrants. All of it, every single bit of it came from us, from one source and one source alone. The same way that you can only trace the origins of hip hop back through our lineage and history, everything white people claim is good and honorable about this country can only be traced back through our lineage and history. We are the founders of the United States, at least what people claim is good about it. The things that white society actually is willing to brag about in polite company are all the things we did. That's why they spend all their time trying to appropriate it. Same way we see them trying to appropriate our culture across the board. So no, I'm not celebrating the United States birthday. This country cannot have my allegiance or my respect until it earns it. It must earn it through policies that benefit and affirm me and mine. And it must also earn it through tangible benefits because that's the entire point of having a society in the first place. A social structure that makes it where the members of that society as a group are afforded every opportunity to make the most of their lives, and that this is baked into the cake. You look at this satanic funhouse mirror of a society, you see none of that. This is what white power created because the core tenet of white privilege is destruction. If they can't rule someone or something, then they kill it. If they cannot rule a city, then they'll destroy it. If they cannot rule a person, or in our case, if they cannot rule a people, then they will destroy them. This country has no right to throw itself a party when its hands are stained with centuries of our innocent blood and its coffers are lined with the fruits of our labors. This country will not have earned the right to anything other than pure contempt until the true founders of this country are in their proper place of esteem. This nation was established as a criminal enterprise and deserves neither celebration nor even a sniff of respect. They hate that we keep bringing this up because they know we're right about all of it, about all of them. There is no and has never been a substitute for the moral legitimacy of the foundational Black American lineage. Everyone imitates us because they know this. This country has no moral legitimacy unless we say so, and we do not say so. We do not give any sort of legitimacy to it. We stand 10 toes down on that. Everybody else, they couldn't wait to roll over until Massa all was forgiven, but not us. We're not forgetting anything, nor are we forgiving anything. We understand the nature of what we're up against. We know better than anyone that the only antidote to the 4th of July is Black First Truth. Good evening, and be one.
So in 2026, racism is very much still alive. And yesterday on July 4th, we got more proof that we really didn't even need. White supremacy group Patriot Front arrives in Washington, D.C. And these were a group of mass cowards who were just marching through, I guess, Washington, D.C. And what I despise about these dudes is that they are masked. They are so fucking scary. Y'all can't even show your face and put out what you stand for. And then here are more clips, man. I mean, this shit is crazy to me, dog. In 2026, like this is basically on some KKK shit just remastered, bro. But like I say, nothing surprises me. And it's really the fact that they are in mass. Like, show what y'all stand for, man. Oh my goodness, y'all be so pussy, bro. Right here, once again, masked men demonstrating outside Union Station in Washington, D.C. And man, look, like y'all see the caption that this page used, because this is a white supremacy group. And then they were on a bus with people. And I want to show you guys this one specific photo. We had a black woman that was just sitting in the middle. And I tell you, bro, if you put this in black and white, you would think this was in like the 1950s and 60s. But no, this is 2026, July 2026, on America's 250th anniversary of being free. You know what I'm saying? We wasn't free, by the way. That's why I don't really fuck with the 4th of July. Juneteenth is where it's at. But yeah, man, this could be thrown into the civil rights timeline and you wouldn't even know it. 2026, by the way. This is my only thing, though. Seriously, to all the white nationalists and white supremacists, what are you guys like oppressed from? They love calling black people victims and having a victim mentality, but no one is a bigger victim than a Gen Z white man. These guys complain about every single thing. In America, they hold damn near pretty much all of the positions, most of the senators, most of the president, most of the politicians, most of the congressmen, most of the House of Representatives, most of the mayors, most of the governors. You guys run the fucking world. What is oppressing you? And it's just so funny because they love to blame all their problems on the Jews. Oh yeah, man, it's the Jews' fault our women don't want to sleep with us. Oh man, it's the Jews' fault we keep committing suicide at these high rates. Oh man, it's somebody else's fault that we make up 70% of the arrests for child, you know what, despite only making up 29% of the country. These niggas are a bunch of fucking victims. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. It is 2026 and you are a white man. What are you crying about? And this is why I love the whining white man meme. And we need to spread this out more often because it's like these niggas is getting out of hand. Now I want to touch back onto the fact of them, you know, wearing masks and hiding their identity. Because in 2026, man, I feel like will never really truly in your face tell you how they feel. They may smile and be friendly with you in public, but whole time in the back of their mind, they think otherwise. They be the main one in these Facebook posts talking about black fatigue, on TikTok talking about black fatigue, in the comment sections. They be the main ones that are racist, but in your face, they're not going to show it. And I want to show you guys a prime example of the guy that could have been marching in this white supremacist group. It could have been these doctors, these lawyers, these policemen.
So this is Michael Proctor. Michael Proctor used to be a lead investigator for the Massachusetts State Police Department. He has since been fired. Let's talk about why. So let's start by reading his text messages. Here is one text message that Michael Proctor was sending to his friends on his personal phone. Went into Canton High this morning to get a transcript and saw more niggas in 10 minutes than I have in the 4 years I spent there combined. Everywhere I looked, there was monkeys running around. Wanted to ask the woman in the guidance office, where were all the white kids? Where the fuck did all these kids come from? Another text message from Michael Proctor. In this text message, he's discussing a college football game. Ready? You notice that nigga's headband from A&M? Says something like, cash me out. Would have been nice if they were still our slaves. Then I wouldn't have to go pick up my Bertucci's. Hey, nigger, go fetch Bear his wings and pizza, said Michael Proctor. Oh yeah, i.e. his nickname is Bear. He's talking about himself. Here's another one of Michael Proctor's texts. In this text, he's referring to a multi-car accident, a multi-car crash that has just happened. He says, actually, take your time. I saw a nigger was involved, so I wouldn't rush if I were working. Let them die.
And this is what we mean by, if you are racist, as a white person, you can use your racism to harm people. A black person that's racist, what can they really do? You get what I'm saying? Like a white racist has power because they can join the police force and use that racism. They can be a doctor and not diagnose you the same way they do white patients. As a white racist person, you can really thrive with being racist. As a black racist person, oh, you mad about me calling you a saltine? What is my racism doing to you? But you can actually affect people. Do you see what he just told them? Like, dog, and this is in 2026.
Here's another text message from Michael Proctor. It reads, Detroit should be destroyed along with other places like Flint, Michigan. They are breeding grounds for to run wild.
And also, who is he sending these messages to? Because they didn't report him for sending the message. I think I don't know how they found these messages. Anyway, but the person he's sending these messages to, they're racist as well. It's just, man.
Another text from Michael Canton. It reads, it should be punching day in Canton today out of retribution. Any shine you see, blast it in the face. Whew. Here's another lovely text from Michael Proctor. It reads, eat a dick, Ghana. Let's enslave those. My car needs a cleaning. Another lovely text from Michael. It reads, I was planning on tying him up and dragging him from my bumper through the streets of Randolph. You see it, just kill it. Also in Michael's text messages, they found text messages of him saying he was going to be planting coke on people, and also he was going to shove a nightstick up someone's ass.
This is 2026 in America. Who is surprised? The reason I show stuff like this is just to try to get black people to stay on code. Things like this should want us to be more tight-knit, love each other more, have more grace with each other, support each other, love one and each another to the fullest extent. I tell everyone that is watching my videos to stay educated, stay armed, and always be vigilant. And that can go for pretty much anybody watching my videos, right? But I emphasize that to my black people because another topic that I want to talk about is there have been so many cases of black people committing suicide by going outside in broad day and just doing something from a tree.
Well, breaking fuck the news. A woman by the name of Tanya Nicole Miller, age 27, was found dead at Gwen Cherry Park. But here's the dilemma. It took me 45 minutes to find any verification on this story. And I know you're like, whoa, that's insane. There should be something. There's no major news network. There's nothing. The only reason why I found out that this was true because of this woman that's on the screen who works for CBS News, who made a Facebook post. It took me to find a Facebook post to get any kind of verified source of this story. This woman in her video said that she contacted the Miami-Dade police and they said that they could not give her any information. There has been no public outcry. There's been a public outcry on the internet, but there hasn't been a public outcry. There hasn't been anybody at that park. There hasn't been anybody down at the Miami-Dade Sheriff's or the Miami-Dade County Sheriff's Office. There hasn't been anything. It took me so long to find any verified information that this young black woman was found hanging from a tree that they've already ruled a suicide. Not only that, what's even odd, way more odd about this case is that when I went to Facebook and I typed her name in, the first thing that came up on Facebook is pictures from a Facebook page that posts the mugshots of criminals.
And this is what I mean. Do y'all see what they try to do, bro? Even with the situation in my last video about the woman who killed the man that was harassing her, they already tried to start painting the aggressor in a positive light. Oh, he's a veteran. He's a father. His kids are missing him now. But in that same manner, when it was Chud the Builder and he shot that Army veteran, they didn't add that into the articles. So this is why I tell y'all, man, pay attention to the media. Do not take anything at face value. They are always going to try to villainize us, make us seem like we're bad and this and that, so that when something happens to us, it's justified. This is why this whole black fatigue trend, it is so dangerous, because if you continue to paint black people in this negative light, and then when something breaks out, it's like, oh, they were savages anyway. They were this anyway. And look at how they're doing this young lady. She was a criminal, so she deserves to be found hanging. Like, you know what I'm saying, bro? It's just so sickening, dog.
This is the same woman from a year ago. See, the story is that she went from somewhere else down to Miami to celebrate Juneteenth. They found her body hanging on June 18th. Before June 18th, apparently when you looked her name up, this mugshot did not show up. Now all of a sudden the mugshot shows up from a year ago. There's something weird going on in Florida, and that's not, I know that's a fucking overstatement.
I'm pretty sure y'all ain't even hear about this story, man. Sad, dog. No arrest made. And her name is Tania Nicole. I'm going to put her name in the description, dog. This is just one victim. And this is another young lady. This happened in May. Her name was Julia Nazita. She was found hanging from a tree on a church property. She was 16 years old, y'all. I don't understand why a black person in 2026 would use that way of offing themselves. Be realistic. If I was in that state of mind and I wanted to get it done, why would I go in public and do it where people could possibly stop me? Like, this doesn't make sense, bro. This is another one. This happened in February. 21-year-old college student Kyle Basinger, who was missing, was discovered hanging from a tree in Georgia Park. Police say there is no foul play. I mean, like, why would we want to do it in public? Like, this is just crazy to me. It breaks my heart to just see stories like this, and they end up leading nowhere. They always write it off. Oh no, it was just an accident. He did it himself. She did it themselves. But once again, who does that? 2026, you would think things get better. But as the years continue, bro, it just seems to get worse. And I just find it so annoying that people, they love to say that I'm divisive or I'm spreading hate when all I do is bring this shit up. Race relations right now are shit, they kind of bad. Not even kind of. It's very bad. You can feel the tension. And it's not surprising at all because, like I state, these people that we are currently interacting with in 2026 are the descendants of motherfuckers that went to lynchings and were smiling with our dead body of our ancestors right above them. You know what I'm saying? They were fighting actively not to be around the segregation. And looking back, man, I wish we didn't fight so hard to be a part of their establishments. Why didn't we just build up our own shit? Like, I do understand it because the resources weren't as good, but it's like we should have just focused on building up our own shit instead of begging to be around these folks. To get back on track, though, I'm not surprised at all. These people, you know, it's not that long ago. We try to act like it was so long ago. Ruby Bridges, the first girl to attend a white school. She has a TikTok account. So things weren't that long ago. These ideologies still exist in their kids. They teach their kids this stuff. So who's surprised that racism is still alive? I'm not. But no more talking. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is America. No one's surprised. If you want to see something similar to this, go check out what happens when you keep on
The search is on for a missing teen in Jackson County. 18-year-old Nolan Xavier Wells was last seen yesterday afternoon around 3 o'clock on Horn Island. Jackson County Sheriff's Office is currently searching for the missing teen with the help of DMR and the Coast Guard. The United Cajun Navy is also aiding in the search. Now, if you saw Wells yesterday at the island, give Jackson County deputies a call. They're telling us that your information could help narrow their search for this missing teen.
Deuteronomy 7:2-3 says, and when the Lord your God gives them over to you and you defeat them, then you must devote them to complete destruction. You shall make no covenant with them and show no mercy to them. You shall not intermarry with them, giving your daughters to their sons or taking their daughters for your sons. Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings. All praises due to the Most High. And this is Xavier Nolan Wells, who went missing on July 4th after a boat trip with these gentlemen, these three Caucasian gentlemen that you see right here on the boat. And here are some other pictures of him on Horn Island with his Caucasoid friend. And there are more pictures of him on the boat. And there he is as well. Now, sometime during that interaction, they're saying that Nolan somehow went missing. He was last seen at about 3 o'clock p.m. And they said that he was talking to a girl on the north tip of the island. And this is what they're saying about the girl that he was talking to. As you see, it says, at some point he was seen with a girl named Katie. This is what her family had to say. Katie had a conversation and assumed that Nolan was getting ready to get on the boat he came out in. Katie made it home because she was on another boat and with different people. Katie was safe because my brother and sister-in-law went and got her. Katie assumed the quote-unquote friends telling him to get on the boat wouldn't have left him. Me and my family have talked, called, and are sending prayers up to bring Nolan home. We have given all answers we can to his mom and the authorities. So that is what the mother of the girl whom he was last seen with are saying. Now, keep in mind, they're saying that somehow during the trip, he got separated from his phone. Now, what does that mean? Anybody knows a teenager and their phone, it's like their heartbeat. Like taking a phone or separating a teenager from their phone is like taking their heart out of their body. So that is a very vague statement. Did he lose the phone? Was it an iPhone? Did he have Find My Phone? Or was his phone taken from him? And they're saying that the friends was asking him to get back in the boat. But how did his body get found on the island? Yes, a body was found as of early this morning. And they're saying that it has not been identified, but if they've been looking for this young man for the past couple of days and a body is found on the island, mind you, not in the water, you're going to read this article, then of course we would assume that it is the body of 18-year-old Nolan Xavier Wells. Just watch this article as they begin the search. But I'm going to show you at the beginning of this article, they say a body was found. Now, you see the title of the article. It says, body found on Horn Island during search for missing 18-year-old Nolan Wells. Officials have not confirmed the identity of the person found. Now, let's listen to what they have to say.
Desperate search continues for a teen reported missing from Horn Island. 18-year-old Nolan Xavier Wells was last seen Saturday, which was the 4th of July, that afternoon on the northeast tip end of Horn Island. Joining us live is Will Polston with some details on this ongoing investigation. Good morning to you, Will.
Good morning, Brandy. We're here at Lake Mars Pier in Jackson County, where you can see here over my shoulder, it looks like the teams are getting ready and prepared to take to the water. I see 4 different boats here, some of them saying state law enforcement, one just pulling up that says Harrison County on it. So there's going to be quite a bit of a presence out in the water today that's going to be looking for Nolan Wells. Wells is 18 years old, comes in about 6'1" and 180 pounds. Last seen with no shirt on, wearing blue swim trunks and sunglasses on the 4th of July out at Horn Island, somewhere around 3 p.m. Now, right now, the United Cajun Navy is also taking planes up in the air to assist with the search, and the Jackson County Sheriff's Department is asking for any help with pictures or videos that you may have from the Horn Island on Independence Day that could help pinpoint maybe where or when Nolan went missing. Now, he is also a football player at Southwest Mississippi Community College, and they put out a statement today saying that the SMCC family is praying for the beloved football player Nolan Wells, his loved ones, and everyone involved in the search. We ask our community to join us in praying for Nolan's safe return. And again, if you have anything from Independence Day that could help pinpoint where or when Nolan went missing, please send that in to the Jackson County Sheriff's Office. In Jackson County, Will Polston, WLOX News Now.
And, you know, even in that search party, it's very vague, right? Where are the friends, the 3 men that were on the boat? Why are they not testifying and distraught and giving their versions of, you know, please find Nolan. Nolan, if you're out there, come on. Because everybody probably knows what happened to that young black man on Horns Island, which I've never heard of. Even I was just in Mississippi, Senatobia, Mississippi, and I've been to Jackson, Mississippi, which has a large Black population, but I've never heard of Horns Island. So y'all tell me if y'all watching from Mississippi, do Black people even go to Horns Island? Because I know we have a place in North Carolina called the Outer Banks, and that a lot of white people always go to, but actually Blacks were historically prohibited from even going to some of those islands out on the coast. And so I don't know if this is one of those situations, but it seems very strange to me that this man can get on the boat with 4 white guys, take pictures on the island with 4 white guys, and then all of a sudden comes up missing and nobody knows a thing. Now, like I told you before, a body was found this morning. Let me show you that article. And you see it right here. Body found in Jackson County, identification underway. Now, this was at 10:20 a.m. on July the 6th. A body was found on Monday morning near Horn Island in Jackson County. The Jackson County Sheriff said a body was found around 8:45 a.m. today near the same location where 18-year-old Nolan Wells went missing on Saturday. The Jackson coroner is on site attempting to identify the body. And that's it. So a body was found, and we're going to just assume that it's the body of the missing teen, Nolan Wells. But my question is, what happened to Nolan Wells? Where is this alleged woman named Katie, whom he was talking to? Where are his 3 white friends that he was seen on the boat with? And does the island have cameras? Like, it reminds me of the Black lady, and I think her name is Langsford or something like that, who went to an all-white sleepover in Georgia, and she fell off the balcony and broke her neck, and nobody knows what happened to her. You know, she ends up dead at a sleepover, and she's the only Black one there, and nobody knows what happened to her. So this has become all too commonplace, where Black friends go out on boats with their white friends, and then they end up not coming back. And we all know the ritualistic nature of, you know, the evil white supremacists who perform these rituals on days such as July 4th. We all saw the sister was hung during Juneteenth down there in Florida. And there are several other things that they do to conjure up the spirit of evil during these evil times. And so, you know, once again, I always caution and advise people, you know, be careful when you're getting into those spaces where you are the only one. You know, and you know, that is something that a lot of people realize and are saying in some of these comments, like, don't be the only one. You know, they're giving testimonies where their parents told them, nah, you can't go there because, you know, you're going to be the only one. And, you know, that's what I've had to tell my daughter a few times, because, you know, she doesn't see, you know, she has a very kind and loving heart. So it's easy for her to see the good in people until that good becomes bad. And so just take a look at a couple of more of these pictures from the Facebook page. There's the Jackson office release, and that was yesterday. And this is him. I assume that is, I think, his mother. Yes, so that is his mother and his father. And that is him. You know, I guess he was a high school student then. This is Nolan's mother. She has been asking anyone who may know anything to DM or contact the police department. And once again, that is our dear brother, Nolan Wells. So hopefully, you know, the information will come out. But as we've seen a lot of times in these situations, that everybody is involved: the police, the coroner, the search teams, the investigators, the families. You know, somebody knows somebody, and, you know, they're going to protect their children at all costs, when, you know, they possibly may have had something to do with his demise. So rest in peace to the young brother, and hopefully the truth will come out. But as the scripture says, come ye out from among them. And that's, you know, what I advise people to do, especially in these situations where, once again, you are the only one. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this video in the comments. Y'all see the number 919-587-7782. Thank y'all for liking, watching, sharing, and subscribing to this channel. And as always, I pray you have peace and blessings. And as the scripture says, all things that are hidden shall be revealed, and those things done in
It's a cheat code for certain white people to use racism because to them, that gets them to the front of the line.
Guys, we're here on the ground at the BET Awards. Jake Lang is here. He's made an appearance with a truck.
Well, this guy's name is Jake Lang. He's a far-right activist, and he's a social media influencer, a provocateur.
Put the blacks back in church. Get them out of the trap house. You guys are disgusting culture.
What a waste of white skin. You know?
Celebrating home invasion. Celebrating armed robbery. The BET Awards is celebrating degeneracy. It looks like a bunch of prostitutes are dressed up in there.
I didn't know who this guy was. I said, oh my God, it's another white man crashing out. Wow. Another Chad the Builder. Another Nick Fuentes. This is not a new thing. There's been a lot of white guys like this throughout history that would crash out. David Duke comes to mind. There was a neo-Nazi dude that sat down with Roland years ago. I forget his name. They can flash in the pan, these guys that use racist talking points to excel in white society and make money.
See you guys fix your culture. You are poisoning your own youth. And then you are killing each other. You know why? It's because black parents are failures. You have failed your sons and daughters. You have been fatherless. Fatherless epidemic. You have failed your sons and daughters. You have been fatherless. Fatherless epidemic.
And somewhere along the line, he saw the momentum that Chad the Builder was getting. He started doing his shtick on the street. Started doing his street shtick. So anyway, he's at the BET Awards. He was hoping, I guess, to get a lot of publicity. I saw about 20 accounts on X all promoting this video. Yeah. So it looks like he got what he paid for. He wanted to go down to BET. He wanted to go to LA, show his ass, get some publicity, some free earned media attention from doing nothing. I mean, he can't hold a tune. He's not a captivating speaker. He's not a comedian. He's not a writer. He's just a guy that goes out and says offensive stuff to black people, hoping that white people that dislike black people, that have bias against black people, who are racist towards black people, will follow him. And then he could be a truth teller that says all these negative things about black people. And he'll make money, get speaking engagements, and, you know, it did not go as he thought it was going to go.
Revolutionary salute to our family. Let me tell my story. 883 for the donation to the war chest. Revolution is a way of life. Absolutely appreciate the love, family. Say hello, sir. Been watching you for about 5 years. I appreciate the love and appreciate you helping me keep the lights on. At the House of Revolution. Salute.
Yeah, I think we get the idea. Things did not go as well as he expected. Welcome to LA, mother. Yeah, I don't get it. I don't know. You know, Chud the Builder, when he was doing his thing, when he was aggravating black people on the streets, he was mostly in the South. And I think he was doing that because, well, you know, be in areas where there may be more racist, allies. You come to like, certain places in the East Coast or on the West Coast or the Mid-Atlantic. I don't know. I don't think it'd do too well in Baltimore either. I think some Baltimore brothers might put some hands on him, put some hands and feet on him. You might get the beats. Might get beat up. Might get his. Yeah, so I know, man, it's just sad. It's like the creativity level of the new generations is just so low. If they can't Google it or put it in ChatGPT and instantly get a career path, then they're not interested in putting any hard work in. They got to use a cheat code by society, by racist society, in order to get a leap past their competition. It's just pathetic, man. No work ethic at all. And people took his signs. He's going to make video content after that. He'll probably do some fundraising. There'll be some racists to go, oh, look what they did to him. He just has a different opinion. He's just voicing his First Amendment rights. And then he'll raise money off that, and he'll use that momentum of that and say the mean blacks put hands on him. He'll play victim. That's what they do. They come, they antagonize you. Then when you respond, oh, look what they did to me. I got a paper cut right there. See what they did to me, Johnson? They hurt me. They lay hands on me. And I'm white, and they did this, and I bruised these. And look what they did. And they'll do that. And there'll be people that just open up their checkbooks. Here you go. Here goes money. Here's the problem with this guy. It's not a problem for black Americans. I mean, obviously, the people that are going to listen to a guy like this are brain dead anyway. And these people exist. They're everywhere, frankly. The fact that you don't realize that these people are not new, that would just be you not being in those circles or, just not having the visibility of them. And look, I'm not saying you need to know about them, but I'm just saying it's not a new thing. They've been here. They've always been here. These are the go back to Africa people. Before that, they were something else. Like they've never gone away. What I can't stand is that, for instance, he's anti-immigrant. I'm a person that wants borders. I'm going to do a segment a little bit later that's going to bring that up, right? As we get into the birthright citizenship. But I do not agree with him. I'm not, I'm not an ally for him, right? But it's unfortunate that there are people that say they want birthright citizenship overturned, or people like him, that he's in that group. And that's what's bad, is that there'll be people that dislike my point of view, who disagree with me, who will try to lump me in with this guy. They will ignore all my pro-Black American content. They'll ignore all the other issues that I fight for, and they'll just go to that one thing and call me a white nationalist and lump me in with a guy like Jake Lang, because they play dirty. They fight dirty. They don't want to argue my points that Black Americans are sitting on the bottom in this economy. Why is that? And they don't want to look at any of the others. They want to look at one issue and say, it's Trump. It's the oligarchy. I'm like, well, okay. Well, Obama ran the oligarchy too, and he was that Trump. It wasn't like we was killing it, right? Then there was Biden, was after Obama, and he was in charge of the oligarchy. He was in charge of the government. So what I'm saying is the problem is bigger than just the president. It's the policies. And one of the policies that hurts Black America is immigration. But they don't want to have that conversation. They want to tell me it doesn't hurt us. There are people that group us with Jake Lang. His mindset, his whole thing is totally anti-Black. I'm not anti-immigrant. I'm anti-immigrant policy that allows Black people to be stuck to the bottom. Hey, if a Black America wasn't stuck to the bottom in America, if it was actually us getting a fair treatment, I feel differently about immigration. But as long as immigration has been proven to drive down the cost of wages for Black American blue-collar, tradesmen, construction workers, landscape, contract work, contractors, Black women in nursing, in the healthcare industry. As long as those immigrants are doing those jobs that are primarily with focus on Black Americans that we were doing, I'm gonna have a problem with it because my goal is to help Black Americans. That's my priority number one. Too many of us are afraid to have a priority number one and let that priority be Black America. They want it to be everyone, and that ain't working out for us. So anyway, that's where I am on this. Jake Lang is a horrible mofo. I do not support anything he does. I'm not on him. I don't back his politics. I don't back what he's doing. He's a buffoon. He's a laughing stock. He's lazy. He's trying to get cheap wins. He don't want to grind it out and be a real politician or a real voice for anything. He's using a cheat code that's available for bigots that will get him a lot of views, which is beating up on Black Americans. Talking mess about Black Americans. Because America's going to have a built-in audience for that. That's what he's doing. Let's deal with that fact. Let's not stereotype or let's not lump in Black folks that are fighting for the rights of Black Americans to have businesses that thrive. Let's not pin us in, group us in with Jake Lang. And don't support Jake Lang out of some weird, like, okay, we got a similarity. No. If you are anti-Black, we got no conversation. Don't come with me with that bullshit. Well, Fred Hampton, he worked with the white supremacists back in 1984 or 1982. He did. I don't want to hear that shit. No. If you anti-Black, I got no conversation for you. Point blank. Here's the reason why I stopped walking with those progressive types, because they used to say shit like that. Well, Fred Hampton, he was willing to work with anyone. Not the Klan, dummy. Not the Klan. And Fred Hampton died at 21, 22? Maybe if he'd have been around, he wouldn't have been killed. If he wouldn't have been murdered by the state, maybe he would have evolved. Ever thought of that?
Catch Tim Black live on the most dangerous.
Coffee. Follow me.